Ninja Turtles!
Dude, bringing back the mohawk. Good for you.
Oh, y'all got jokes, huh?
Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler-free review for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Always have, always will. The Ninja Turtles are... I should put these down before I poke an eye out. The Ninja Turtles are flippin' awesome. And this movie was no exception. Yes, it had its negatives. Yes, it had its down points. I'll get into that in a second. But first, let me highlight the sheer awesomeness of this. First off, if you were a huge fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon from the 90s, like early 90s, like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of throwbacks to that. It just even has the feel of that. I mean, there's so many cool elements in it that just take you back to that time as a child. It's awesome. So that was one of the highlighted elements. Bebop and Rocksteady. I thought it was really cool. I thought their origin story, I don't know, their origin story was a little weird, a little convenient. The way they explained it to me was like, what? Really? Alright, whatever. I guess we just gotta get to Bebop and Rocksteady. That's fine. But once we got to Bebop and Rocksteady, I really liked it. I loved those two actors who played Bebop and Rocksteady. I thought their characters were great. They were basically like these two big, immature kids that just continued to fight. Shredder was like trying to keep them in line. Now, I don't mean like the kids like Tokka and Razor from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze. No, not like that. They were just awesome. They fit the role. I did not know that Rocksteady was Irish, but apparently he kind of is. Or Finnish. I don't know. It sounded like an Irish accent to me. Point is, they were good. I enjoyed their characters. It was really cool to see Bebop and Rocksteady on the silver screen for the first time. It was one of the highlights of the movie for me. One of the things that was really great about this movie, I think, was just kind of the overall story. So basically, Shredder gets a hold of this extra-dimensional purple ooze. And, you know, he tested on Bebop and Rocksteady and all that stuff. So basically, the point of this ooze is that he could create, like, this army of mutants because he wants to prepare the way for Commander Krang. I'm not spoiling anything. This is in the trailer. So that's what he's kind of trying to do, but also it's a good way to get rid of the turtles. So that's all the different ways that he's working to do this, and so that's kind of the story. But the Turtles get a hold of this purple ooze through a series of events, but the ooze becomes this source of contention, and you get an idea of that in the trailer, but they really did take it to a whole nother level that I thought was really, really interesting. Actually, I didn't expect that a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie could go kind of deep. This went kind of deep with some things. I mean, it dealt with them worrying about their appearance. It dealt with them wanting acceptance. But I felt like it wasn't this super cheesy, overbearing, preachy kind of way. You're watching these dudes who are mutants, and really the only people they hang out with are April, Finnick, and Splinter. Like, that's it. So they're lonely. They want to get out and things like that, but they don't want to change who they are or what I don't know. It's such a... I can't go any deeper into it without spoilers, but all I can say is that whole story was really, really interesting. On top of it, the Turtles were the Turtles. Like, they kept their personalities the same. All of it was fantastic. The one-liners in this movie were freaking hilarious. I enjoyed so much of it because it was a throwback to the cartoon. But my wife, who didn't watch that old cartoon, was still laughing and having a great time with all the jokes and the one-liners. I mean, there were so many points of this where it's like, my goodness, this is a genuine comedy. Not any of that dramedy stuff. This is an actual laughing comedy. And it just felt so good to watch a movie with mutated superheroes where you could just sit there and laugh and enjoy it. It really was a fantastic ride. Then we introduced Casey Jones. I was very much looking forward to seeing Casey Jones because I love Arrow. Stephen Amell is awesome. So I was excited to see what they're going to do with Casey Jones. And without getting in any spoilers or anything like that, because it is a spoiler-free... Sometimes spoiler-frees are frustrating because there's just so much I want to say and I can't say... In the beginning, Casey Jones he had to grow on me. It wasn't that Stephen Amell did a bad job. I think Stephen Amell did a great job beginning to end. And he did what the director asked of him. Like, I could just sense that and feel that that's what he was doing. So I don't know. I think Stephen Amell did a great job. I guess I just wasn't expecting the character choice they had with Casey Jones. Like, I just felt like he's a little too happy-go-lucky, lighthearted, trying to be comedic relief in the beginning, rather than kind of the tough guy that I got the impression that Casey Jones is, both from the cartoon and the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. So that took a little getting used to, but I did get used to it. And as the movie went on, he did kind of become that tough guy. I mean, really what it is, it's a Casey Jones origin story. So you're not seeing him already Casey Jones like in the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You're watching him grow into it. So that took me a second to kind of settle on that, but once I did, I was good. So I did enjoy Casey Jones. Stephen Amell was a great character. It was awesome when he met the Turtles, and the Turtles had somebody else they can meet, and it was like another brother into their tribe, and the way they just kind of, picked on him. I can't say anymore, but it was hilarious. A few of the disappointments I had were probably more in the way of the other villains, like the Shredder. The Shredder was a great villain, like especially in the first movie. This movie, I think he was a great villain, but he just wasn't the villain. Like, he was the villain trying to get the other villain to appear and be the villain. So that was kind of his villainous purpose, was for the purpose of the other villain. I think the most disappointing thing about the Shredder in this movie was you just didn't have a lot of Shredder and Turtles. Like, I mean, that is the Turtles' epic arch nemesis, and yeah, the Turtles were after Shredder, but there was such an overarching other villainous plot going on that it's just, I don't know, the Shredder kind of got overshadowed, the Turtles going after the Shredder got kind of overshadowed, so to me that was a little weak, especially because, I like the Shredder. I wanted to see more of the Shredder, especially the Shredder in this version of events. I always wondered how they would bring Crane into a movie. I always thought that would be interesting, but of course when I was thinking that, I was a kid, and it was the Muppet Ninja Turtle movies coming out, and it's like, how do you do that? In this world, yeah, you could do it so many different ways. Honestly, I was a little underwhelmed with Crane. I mean, I was excited that they introduced him into this series, but I don't know. I didn't really like his voice, and there's more I could say, so you'll have to wait for the spoiler talk to hear that. But otherwise, I don't know. Really, I was underwhelmed with Crane, and I was underwhelmed with Shredder. So here's the two main villains, and I find myself underwhelmed with the two main villains. But the overall story with the Turtles was good enough that it kind of overarched that. Like, I just thought it was good. April O'Neil did a great job. I know there's a lot of controversy that people don't like Megan Fox being April O'Neil. Honestly, I think she's fine. I think she does a great job. Will Arnett back as Finnick, the guy, was hysterical. And what they did with his character in this movie only made his character better and funnier. It was great. Really, in the end, here's what I'm going to say. There were disappointments with this movie. There were. There were things I was underwhelmed with, yes. But there was a lot of nostalgia in this movie. I genuinely just had a great time, and I was so happy watching it. If you got kids, I was kind of surprised at the amount of cussing that was in the beginning. I'm only bringing that up to say, because yeah, it didn't bother me that much, but I don't really have kids, so I don't know. So if there's no words you're trying to teach your kids not to say, this movie is PG-13 for a reason, and I don't know, I guess you could prepare them to say, don't repeat after Casey Jones in the beginning, or some of these other characters in the beginnings. Just because Donatello says that word doesn't mean you can. I don't know. Those are just some lines maybe you can use. These are your teaching tips from Durbin. What do I know? So I'm going to give this movie 3.5 out of 5 stars. Even for its weaknesses and the places where it was underwhelming, I still found this movie really fun, and I found it really enjoyable, and it did a good job telling a really good story, and surprisingly a little bit deeper than I thought it was going to be. Not super deep, but deeper, and it was good. Spoiler talk coming up tomorrow for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Make sure to join us for that. Bringing in a brand new guest, never been on Durbania before, so you get to meet a good friend of mine. I am pretty excited about that. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows spoiler talk posted tomorrow. Be watching out for that. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first movie, 2014, Reading Way Too Much Into, coming up on Sunday. So, just a few things to look forward to on this Ninja Turtles weekend. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.